Music kept me going. I didn't know where I was going to be that night, where I was going to sleep, where my guitar was going to stay. But I knew that I was going to be playing music the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And I essentially went from being homeless to touring in a very short amount of time. And it was all just because I had to make it happen. I had to make this music, I had to make this noise, I had to make these records, I had to do this. There was no other option. There was no college, there was no nothing. And then I found out that this punk rock thing was just like everything else, and it was going to reject me too. Because it's made of humans, and people are messed up, and it's not always about idealism, and it's not always about doing the right thing. Sometimes it's just about people being people. And I took that pretty personally, that people were people, and that it doesn't matter how much I work at this thing, that it's it's still it's a relationship like everything else. It's not clean cut, it's not practice and then everything's good to go. You have to have a relationship, you have to work at it, you have to love people, and you have to love this thing that you do. You have to have a healthy relationship with yourself in order to keep it up, or else the crowd can know, people know. People can see that you're poisoning yourself. And you gotta want more for yourself, for other people, you know? Everybody's looking to you for a slice of freedom. You have to give them something they can't give themselves. And though I learned a lot, taught myself how to create anything I wanted from the ground up. Long-form focus, short-term sacrifice for future stability, setting daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly goals. I was dissatisfied with being in bands. Also got enough production work via random demos, my hip-hop tracks, Dolly Von Everett, Lap for Truth, and when I'm older to take on writing, performing, and recording my own personal records. No more filtering ideas through others. The record started out sounding like Tom Waits, Townes Van Zandt meets Ben Queller, a muddy lo-fi Beach Boys vibe. Then the energy was just kind of, extremely wrong. Just led to more depression and drinking. And then it took 2 years before I decided I was finally going to take the solo material into a hip-hop, neo-soul, R&B vibe type thing. I didn't identify with other singer-songwriters, and I didn't like the limitations. I didn't like the people, and I didn't like the bar scene. I hated all the overplayed covers and aesthetics. So, it just wasn't for me. Couldn't do it. At first, the hip-hop was really bad. Had the right idea on what I wanted to do, magical realism, warm, bright production, smart, subtle guitar work, familiar format filled with existential anti-capitalist art, but the first rap song I recorded was almost 10 years prior to the Solo Monk moniker. A straight garbage track produced by a 19-year-old homeless Charles, who at the time was sleeping in his friend's closet. Luckily, since then I had created a lot of, full albums, figured out why music was either good or bad. It's an art thing. Certain rules can be used to do quick assessments, and I learned most of them. Writing music had become much easier since then, And now studying up on any style, any production aesthetic is way easier because of the internet. Culture is more fluid, from George Clinton to D'Angelo to Big L to UGK to Outkast, A$AP Rock to A$AP Rocky, Afro, funk, R&B, punk rock, gypsy, folk, boom bap, trill, trap, two-tone ska, Cuban jazz, free jazz, etc. I'm a much freer man today than I was 10 years ago, and that's just access to art and music. I would always rather every musician and artist be broke and living like a monk, and everyone have access to art and culture, and these things that give us levitation. It's real world magic. No one holds it precious like they should. This shit is something we should love and worship. We can create anything we want. Most of us make the same thing you can find turning on a radio or hitting a Spotify playlist. You have one life to live, a finite amount of time to create. Solo Monk was about taking my lush, sometimes destructively curious interior existence and putting it to a soundtrack. Since my first mixtape in 2016, it's just gotten more on point with each release.